The more you seek validation in your relationships, the more elusive true connection becomes. Radha reveals, genuine devotion blossoms from the fertile ground of inner sovereignty, not from a mind tethered to external approval. This profound insight, rooted in the ancient wisdom of yoga, promises to transform your relationships forever, not by changing him, but by radically shifting your understanding of your own self. Perhaps you find yourself perpetually caught in a cycle of anticipation and disappointment, where your peace of mind feels inextricably tied to a text message, a phone call, or an act of recognition from another. You might invest boundless energy into understanding his motivations, deciphering his silences, or striving to become the ideal woman, only to face the quiet ache of feeling like an option rather than the unequivocal choice. This deep frustration of repeating the same errors in different relationships is not a flaw within you. It is a profound invitation from your deepest self to transcend the superficial dance of conditional affection. The very essence of this struggle lies in an invisible error, a subtle yet pervasive misidentification that traps countless women in patterns of emotional dependency. This error is the belief that your inner self, your inherent worth, your tranquility, your very identity, is contingent upon the success or failure of a relationship. It's the subconscious agreement that his presence defines your completeness, or his absence signifies your lack. Such a belief, though deeply ingrained by societal narratives and personal conditioning, is a profound deviation from the truth taught by Raja Yoga and Vedic philosophy. We are not here to offer fleeting tips or superficial advice on how to make him commit or win his affection. This path is for the introspective woman, weary of quick fixes, who desires true sovereignty over her emotional landscape. It's for the soul who senses that the key to harmonious relationships lies not in external strategies, but in the internal mastery of the mind and the unwavering realization of her own self. This journey is about cultivating an unshakable inner peace, a sovereignty that remains untouched by the fluctuations of external circumstances. It's about embodying the devotion of Radha, not as a desperate yearning, but as a conscious expression of your inherent completeness. This yoga insight will illuminate the path to becoming your own center of power, ensuring that whether a relationship flourishes or fades, your self remains whole, luminous, and free. The invisible error at the heart of much relationship suffering is the unconscious act of identifying your intrinsic self with the transient success or failure of an external bond. Imagine yourself, your true essence, as an unmoving, brilliant sun. Your emotions, your thoughts, your relationships, these are like planets orbiting around it. However, when we fall into this common error, we allow a single planet, a relationship, to eclipse our sun, making us believe that our light, our warmth, our very existence is dependent on its orbit. This isn't love. It's an entanglement of identity, leading to profound emotional dependency. This dynamic often manifests as the gnawing anxiety of waiting for a reply, the frantic replaying of conversations, or the desperate attempt to mold yourself into what you believe he desires. Why does this pattern repeat, leading to the same heartaches, albeit with different faces? It is because the root cause isn't external, it's internal. Your will, the inherent power of yourself as taught in Raja Yoga, has become unconsciously directed outward, seeking validation where it cannot truly be found. The Bhagavad Gita, in its profound teachings on karma yoga, speaks of acting without attachment to the fruits of action. Applied to relationships, this means engaging with presence and genuine devotion, but without staking your self-worth on the outcome, the partner's response, or the relationship's longevity. When your happiness becomes conditional upon another's actions, you inadvertently hand over your sovereignty, allowing external forces to dictate your inner state. Consider the deep desire to be the choice, not an option. This longing is fundamentally a call for recognition of your inherent value, Yet when this recognition is sought externally, it perpetuates a cycle of proving and performing. The self, the Atman, doesn't need to prove its value. Its value is intrinsic, eternal, and unchanging. The frustration of repeating the same errors is a karmic echo, a pattern of the mind, chitta vritti, that seeks resolution not through a new partner, but through a new awareness within yourself. The question is not, what can I do to make him choose me? But rather, what aspect of myself am I neglecting, causing me to seek external validation for what is already eternally present within? This is the alchemical question, transforming pain into potent insight. This isn't to say that you should become cold or indifferent. On the contrary, it's about freeing your capacity to love from the binds of attachment and fear. When you cease to identify your you with the fate of the relationship, you reclaim your emotional autonomy. Your will becomes available for self-mastery, for turning inward, for discovering the inexhaustible wellspring of peace within. This shift, from identifying with the fleeting external drama to anchoring in the eternal self, is the foundational insight of yoga that can change the landscape of your relationships forever. It transforms you from a seeker of validation into a source of sovereignty. Often what we perceive as chemistry, that undeniable, sometimes overwhelming pull towards another, is in essence a sophisticated karmic pattern masquerading as true, soul-level connection. This isn't to diminish the intensity of such feelings, but to shed light on their deeper nature. True connection, from a Vedanta perspective, arises from a place of clear consciousness, a mutual recognition of the self in another. Chemistry, however, can frequently be the mind's projection, a familiar vibrational echo of past experiences, unresolved lessons, or even unfulfilled desires. It's the subconscious seeking to complete an unfinished story, drawing you into repeating dynamics that offer intense emotional highs and lows, but rarely lasting peace or authentic spiritual growth. This is the illusion that keeps us tethered to patterns of apego, mistaking the turbulence of attraction for the stability of devotion. To transcend this cycle, Raja Yoga offers a powerful technica pratica, the detached observer practice. This is not about suppressing your emotions, but about gaining sovereignty over them, seeing them as temporary vrittis, fluctuations of the mind, rather than your core identity. When anxiety surges, when longing becomes overwhelming, or when disappointment washes over you, your will has the power to shift your perspective. Here's the micro exercise of reflection. For 5 minutes each day, especially when you feel an emotional surge related to your relationship, sit in quiet contemplation. Instead of allowing the emotion to consume you, observe it. Notice the physical sensations, the racing thoughts, the narrative your mind creates. As you observe, gently repeat to yourself, "This emotion is happening in me. It is not of me. I am the self observing this, not the emotion itself." Do not judge it. Do not try to stop it. Simply observe its nature. This practice, deeply rooted in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, aims at Chitta Vritti Nirodha, the stilling of the fluctuations of the mind. By consciously disconnecting from the identification with the emotion, you create space. In that space, your true self, Atman, can emerge, untouched by the storm. This technique helps differentiate between true connection and karmic attachment. Radha, an archetype of pure devotion, embodies this profound distinction. Her devotion to Krishna was not born of apego or a needy desire for completion, but from an inherent, unwavering love, rooted in self-realization. She didn't lose her identity in him. Rather, her love amplified her divine essence. Her devotion was a conscious choice, an act of sovereign will, not a desperate need. This yoga insight allows you to love with that same conscious devotion, without surrendering your inner sovereignty. When you master your mind through observation, the chemistry you attract becomes a reflection of your true self, not an echo of unresolved karma. One of the most potent triggers for emotional unrest in modern relationships is the silence from him. The unreturned text, the unanswered call, the sudden distance. This silence often triggers a primal fear of abandonment, a deep-seated panic that whispers, "I am not enough," or "I am being rejected." It can lead to an agonizing internal battle, where your mind spins narratives of doom, questioning your value and your desirability. This internal chaos is the mind not dominated by will, desperately seeking external information to restore a perceived sense of safety. However, from the perspective of Raja Yoga, this silence is, paradoxically, one of the most powerful mirrors for your inner self to emerge. Instead of perceiving his silence as a void, consider it a profound invitation from existence itself to turn your awareness inward. The outer silence is merely amplifying the inner noise, the conditioned patterns of anxiety, insecurity, and apego that reside within your mind. When he goes silent, and your mind begins its familiar dance of craving answers, remember that your will is the master, not the servant of these reactions. This is where your true power lies, not in breaking his silence, but in conquering your own internal one. The self, the Atman, is inherently whole and complete. It does not require external validation or constant communication to exist or to be worthy. Silence is, in essence, an opportunity to practice detachment from the outcome, allowing you to anchor deeper into your sovereignty. This deep insight reveals that the discomfort you feel is not caused by his silence itself, but by your mind's interpretation of it and your identification with that interpretation. When the mind is not governed by the will of the self, it defaults to patterns of seeking external control, of needing to know, to predict, to influence. But the yogic path teaches that true dominio is always internal. The silence is a sacred space for yourself to ask, what does myself truly desire in this moment of perceived lack? Is it external validation, or is it the peace that comes from recognizing my own inherent fullness? By choosing to observe the discomfort without attachment, by breathing through the urge to control or chase, you are actively transmuting carencia, neediness, into poder de atração, power of attraction. This isn't a manipulative tactic, it's a fundamental shift in your energetic reality. When you are anchored in yourself, radiating sovereignty and peace, you naturally attract experiences and individuals who reflect that inner state. The silence that once triggered panic now becomes a sacred retreat, a powerful teacher, inviting you to commune with the profound stillness and wisdom of your own EU that always resides within. So, we return to our initial paradox. The more you seek external validation and try to control the dynamics of your relationships, the less sovereignty you actually possess over your own emotional landscape. This profound yoga insight is not about achieving a perfect relationship or even attracting a specific partner. It's about reclaiming your intrinsic power and transforming the very fabric of your inner reality. The journey from emotional dependency to sovereignty is an act of will, a conscious choice to shift your center of gravity from the transient external world to the eternal self within. By understanding that much of what is called chemistry is merely a karmic pattern, an unexamined projection of the mind, you gain the clarity to disengage from repetitive cycles of disappointment. The detached observer practice, observing the fluctuations of the mind, vriddhis without identification, is your practical tool for this liberation. It allows you to feel the intensity of emotion without being consumed by it, reminding you that you are the vast sky, and your emotions are merely passing clouds. Furthermore, by reframing the intimidating silence from another, not as a rejection, but as a potent mirror for your own inner world, you transmute potential anxiety into an opportunity for profound introspection. This silence becomes a sacred space where yourself can finally be heard, undistracted by the clamor of external expectations. It's an invitation to deepen your connection with your Atman, your true essence, which is inherently whole, complete, and needs nothing from outside itself to be fulfilled. This fundamental insight is the cornerstone of Raja Yoga applied to relationships. The recognition that your peace, your worth, and your devotion are not products of external circumstances, but reflections of your internal mastery. Begin to observe how your mind reacts, how it chases, how it identifies with the drama of the external. This auto-observation is the first step towards liberation, the key to unlocking your sovereignty, and the path to truly changing your relationships forever by first changing your relationship with yourself. Imagine the ocean, vast and undisturbed, even as countless waves rise and fall upon its surface. The waves are like the fluctuations of the mind, thoughts, emotions, desires that surge and recede in the context of our relationships. We, however, often mistakenly identify ourselves with these waves, believing we are the crest of euphoria or the trough of despair. Yet, the yoga insight revealed today invites you to recognize your true nature as the ocean itself, the unmoving, silent, all-encompassing self. This is the profound wisdom that Radha embodies. Her devotion to Krishna was not born of the dependency or the illusion of needing him to complete her. Instead, it was an overflow of her inherent spiritual fullness, a conscious expression of her divine essence. She loved with unconditional devotion, yet her sovereignty remained intact because her center was always within, rooted in her unwavering connection to the Supreme Self. She taught that true love is a process of revelation, not acquisition. Her journey exemplifies how relationships, even the most challenging ones, can serve as powerful fields for spiritual growth and the realization of one's dharma. They are opportunities to practice non-attachment, to cultivate inner peace amidst external turbulence, and to activate the will of the self to transcend apego. This is the alchemy of Raja Yoga in action, transmuting the lead of suffering into the gold of sovereignty and self-realization. Just as the sun continues to shine regardless of the clouds that temporarily obscure it, your self remains eternally luminous, regardless of the challenges or perceived failures in your relationships. This understanding empowers you to walk your path with grace, to love with freedom, and to manifest a reality that truly reflects the boundless power and peace that reside within you. This is the liberation promised by Vedanta, a liberation accessible through the conscious practice of yoga. This journey of embodying true sovereignty within your relationships is a profound and deeply personal one, yet it is not meant to be walked alone. The wisdom of Raja Yoga and Vedanta blossoms beautifully when shared within a community of like-minded seekers. If this insight into the self and the mind resonated with you, if it sparked a flicker of recognition for the deeper truth behind your emotional patterns, we invite you to take the next step. Consider sharing your reflections in the comments below. How does this concept of inner sovereignty challenge or validate your current understanding of love and relationships? Your journey is a valuable part of our collective Sangha, our spiritual community. If this video helped you reflect with your own self and illuminated a new path for your relationships, please like this video and share this new reflection. Join our community here on YouTube, where we continue to explore the depths of consciousness, dharma, and the true power of the self in navigating the complexities of modern love. We are here to support each other in becoming sovereign, lucid, and truly free.